Hello children, welcome to my classes, and today's session is going to be very special because it's figure speech, and the figure speech that I have taken is something which you are really going to love it because the figure speech that I'll be taking up today is Enjambment and Anaphora. And first of all, why do we need figure of speech? What is the basic purpose of using a figure of speech? The purpose of speech, especially in reference to the poetic language or poetic word, goes beyond ordinary communication. That is, it brings emotion, it brings thought, it gives a creative imagery or sensory expression. It gives a good expression or rhythm or the connection between the poet and the reader. So everything a poetry needs, figure of speech gives to that and in parts. And these two figure of speech, that is enjambment and anaphora, are very least discussed, but they are very important for you to know. So moving on to the next, that is the details on which we are going to talk of. To express emotions and thought, this I have already told you, rhythm, sensory expressions, imagery. So poetry is all about that. So whenever you are describing it, you need to keep these terms with you. These are I'm just highlighting it. These are the terms like emotions, thoughts, sensory expression, imagery. All these terms are very important when you are describing and talking about figure of speech. And now we'll start with enjambment. What exactly is enjambment? With the examples and more details we will discuss. Enjambment is a poetic device, that is the figure of speech. The alternative name is poetic device, in which a sentence or phrase or clause runs over from one line of the poetry to the next without a pause or punctuation. Now punctuations, we all know, give a pause or some due a segment to the sentence, but it, in a very simple language you can understand, punctuations are not there, and it goes on with the sense that it is trying to give. It occurs when the meaning continues beyond the line break. That is, the meaning is continuing, line is over, but your meaning is continued in the next line, and the reader must continue to the next line to fully understand the sense or idea of the poetry. Now, what is the purpose of enjambment? It creates a flow and rhythm, builds suspense. Obviously, one line is over and you are not clear with the meaning of the poetry, of that sentence that you have done. Emphasis on certain words, and this is something very important. You need to underline this for enjambment. Emphasis on certain words or ideas. It actually gives, automatically that emphasis comes and reflects emotional flows, overflows, reflects that. So basically, enjambment gives a detailed, when you are reading it only, then only you will come to know that yes, the meaning is continued, and the second sentence is flowing, the third is flowing. We'll come with the examples. Now, in explanation in very simple words, when a line of a poetry does not end with a full stop or comma, and you have to go to the next line to complete the thought or meaning, that is enjambment. When you have to really go to the next line or the next line, then to complete the meaning, the sense of that first line that you have started reading, without a punctuation, without that pause, indicative pause that comes with the punctuation, that is enjambment. Now, first example, it is from the very famous poem of Robert Frost, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. The woods are lonely, dark, and deep, but I have promised to keep, and miles to go before I sleep. You can see in the second and the third line, there is no punctuation. That is, until and unless you come to the second line, you will not be able to understand the meaning of the complete sentence. Now, this is another one from John Keats. The thing of beauty is a joy forever. This is from there. Its loneliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but still will keep a bar quiet for us. So, to come to the next meaning, what exactly loneliness increases, we have to come to the first line and the second line. It will never pass into nothingness. To get into the complete meaning, you have to come to the second line without the punctuation. And if we see the second line in continuation to the the second line in continuation with the third line, but still will keep a bar quiet for us. So the meaning of its loneliness increases is clear when you come to the second and the third line in continuation to that. So this is a very common poetic device that we are using, anaphora. Now we come to anaphora. That is, anaphora is a figure of speech. Before we come to the definition or anything, anaphora, when the starting of the line, that is the word or group of words, is giving a repeat. There's a repeat in the starting of that line, not the end. We are talking not the end. One or two word or phrase sort is repeated, then that is anaphora. Anaphora is a figure of speech in which a word or phrase is repeated at the beginning of the successive clause or line. It is commonly used in poetry, speeches, and prose to emphasize an idea, create rhythm, and make the message more powerful and memorable. It's not that very difficult. When the same line, now this is the explanation, when the same line or the word is repeated at the beginning of two or more lines or sentences, is just called anaphora. This repetitions give importance to the repeated phrase and adds emotion, strength, or a effect, rhetoric effect to the poetry. Now, first example comes when the same word or group of words is repeated. This is the first example. I have a dream that one day, I have a dream that my 4 little children, I have a dream that one day every valley. Now this is from Martin Luther King Jr. Now what is repeated here? I have a dream, I have a dream. We are not explaining, we are not going into the explanation of the line. We are just seeing the figure of speech that is being used. Basically you have to concentrate on that. Now I'll come back to that and the repeated lines. Yes, I'm coming back to the repeated line. See the repeated line. I have a dream, I have a dream, I have a dream. Okay, now we come, it was the best time, it was the worst time, it was. Now what are we repeating? It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. So what are we repeating? It was. So I suppose it's coming clear to you, so that when you come to the poetry, you don't miss it out. Now the third example, William Blake's London. In every cry. So what are we repeating? In every. So if we see, if you see, what are we repeating? In every. So in the starting of the line, that word is given and there's a repetition to it. Now, there's a difference. You get confused with anaphora and epiphora. Now, figure of speech, the repetition of anaphora, in the beginning of the clause or line. We shall fight, we shall. So what has been repeated here? We can see we shall, we shall. Now epiphora, end of the clause. See no evil, hear no evil. So what has been repeated? Evil. So this is the basic difference between anaphora and epiphora. So three figure speech we have discussed, that is enjambment, anaphora and epiphora, and for your help you will get the description, you will get the PDF in the description box. Please do follow and wait for many more poems and literary works, your literature chapters also, question answers, exercises. Way lot is going to come up. Thank you for your